So, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, as Harold said, we met sometime in 2010 in a lovely, quaint little dinner one night, and I kept thinking to myself, this guy's talking to me, and I have no idea what he's talking about. What is MLOVE, and what is it about, and what does it have to do with me? And almost 4 years later, this has been one of the few relationships I can honestly say where Harold can just call me and with 5 or 6 words get me to get on a plane and fly 11 hours halfway across the globe, and I'm happy to do it. So, I want to tell you a little bit about my job and about what I do and sort of why mobile is so important to me, because the Recording Academy, which are the producers of the Grammy Awards, which is responsible for music's biggest night, we are seen by somewhat close to 1 billion people in 170 countries around the world. And this year, that global perspective is becoming more and more relevant in terms of how we do things. I start my team off every season, every Grammy season, by asking, do you mobilize your social or do you socialize your mobile? Because for me, mobile and social go hand in hand. And so I can't be responsible for social if I don't have a say in how we mobilize things. So we are music's biggest night. The stars are aligned with some of the biggest music industry celebrities all come to the Grammy stage and to the Grammy red carpet. One-of-a-kind performances is something that we're known for. That picture on the left, on your left, on the right, the one with Nicki Minaj. I was standing on the red carpet when she walked down, and I did not know what the hell that was. It completely freaked me out, because I was like, why is the Pope here? Like, we have a tendency to, like, invite very odd people, but I was like, somebody please explain to me why the Pope is here. And then what is he doing with Little Red Riding Hood? And so it just is all weird. But in order to do my job well and in order to really take this iconic brand that's 55 years old, everything we do has to be out-of-the-box thinking. And so everybody must. So the reason things like MLOVE and mobile and being here in Hamburg are important to me and important to the brand is simply because I come to learn about things like Clash, and I come to learn about things like RJ, DJ, and I come to learn about things like Might, because those things help me do my job better. It's that technology which connects music fans, music creators, and technology that are the center of why we can do the kinds of things we can do with the platform and this national stage that we have. But it's a coordinated approach. Mobile, social, and the television and the digital broadcast all go hand in hand together. And people ask me about the mobile and the social. They don't exist one without the other. I have a traditional broadcast. The Grammys is never going to be seen on YouTube or tape TV or any place else. It's always going to be on television. It's always going to be on CBS, you know, assuming that the checks keep coming. But it's always going to be on television where you're sitting with a bowl of popcorn on your lap with the dog on your feet or the cat around your neck and the person you love sitting next to you on a Sunday night in LA. I'm not quite sure what day it's shown here, but that's where it's always going to be. And so how do I take advantage of and leverage all this new technology if it's always ever going to be on television? And that's what the beauty of something like an MLOVE is for me, and that's why it's important to fly 12 hours around the world to be here. The role of mobile on television can't change the facts. People digest, receive, and experience content on the go. And so if television is a fixed entity where it's coming on at a specific time, and millennials in the US, we have to put everything into a category because that's the only way we can market it and make money on it. So we do that to people. And so millennials experience television and content on their mobile devices. We all know that. That's not anything new. That's what the stats say. So figuring that out and sort of bringing that all together is an important part of what we do in terms of the telecast. So when you think about what we were able to do, it was surprising to me. I thought we would do good. I thought we would do well. I thought that we had a good program, and I'm going to digest a little bit about how the program came together. I thought it would be okay. But when this chart came out the next day, I almost fainted. And I remember sitting in the little room, and the analytics guys were in there, and they're like, we're at 7,000 tweets per minute. We're at 22,000 tweets per minute. And I started doing my little happy dance. And then they were like, we're at 68,000 tweets per minute. And then I started to kind of grab my chest because I was like, I'm not really sure what that means, but I might faint. And then they said, you're at 100,000 tweets per minute. And then I really did start to like hyperventilate, and someone had to go get me a drink. Well, there's a lot of drinking. So the role of mobile. So from our perspective, it has to be a single voice. We need to make sure that that voice is united across all the things that we're saying so that it's consistent, so that the people who are receiving the content, regardless of where they're receiving it and how they're receiving it, that it's united. And that means that from us, from a discovery perspective, from a platform perspective, that means we want to be in the business of helping people to discover music. We want them to have access to exclusive content on their mobile that they can't get anywhere else, because otherwise they would just ignore it. We don't want the person who's receiving content on their mobile device, which tends to be a younger demographic, receiving that same information that their mom or their dad's receiving on television or later on the news. So we try to make it about getting something exclusive, something different that you wouldn't otherwise get. And the other part of this is engagement, because this doesn't work if we aren't engaging and if we aren't connecting with people. So engagement becomes very important. So it would seem as though mobile were new to the Academy. This 55-year-old organization is actually older than I am, and mobile, in fact, is not new to us. When we started our mobile and our social, when we started our social program and our interactive program some 4 years ago, we also started our mobile program. And so the first one was simply creating an app or a mobile strategy about celebrating the music that makes us and celebrating the music. And so we would use like Tom York's images, and we would say, tell us what music makes you happy, and embedded in this collage of Tom York. And you're thinking, and I barely knew who Radiohead was, but then I hear the stories about how Stevie Wonder has such relevance to his music, and I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. And so we're all connected in this sense of the universal aspects of music and its role in culture. And then the next one is like, we're all fans. At the end of the day, we want to see, whether it's our coolest emerging artist band at South by, when you're standing in a bar and you're like 500 people deep and it's sweaty and it's hot and all you want to do is for a cool breeze to rush across the room because your feet are stuck to the floor and there's some hairy guy in the back of you sweating and breathing on your neck, and all you want to do is to see your favorite band. Your favorite band, and when the first guitar riff blows or the first rim shot from the first beat of the drum goes, that's all you care about, and somehow the rest of it fades to the back, because we're all fans at the end of the day. We all want to celebrate that moment. And then, of course, you know, Harold talks about this idea of everybody's life having a soundtrack to it. And so I came to MLOVE a couple years ago, and one of the things that I said in that conversation is that everybody's life has a soundtrack to it. And so we created an app around that experience because, and I don't know if this translates internationally, so this is only for the women in the room, because the guys will have no idea what I'm talking about. Every woman in the room, tell me if this translates. There's a whoop whoop song. It's the song that no matter what happens, how cute the guy is, what the venue is, it's that song that comes on and you grab your girlfriends, you're like, whoop, whoop, that's my jam. Does that translate around the world? Because that happens in the U.S. all the time. But so it's whether it's the song that you're singing the song that's playing on your wedding day, the song that's playing the entire time you're having your child, the song that's playing in your head or in the room or in the auditorium, the first time the person you love looks into your eyes and you know that there's that magical connection, it can all be traced back to music. Mobile and social engagement happen to make sense, but you don't move an organization that's 55 years old by just having a really cool, slick app and some marketing themes associated with it. The slide on the left is from one of our bloggers. We opened up our room to music bloggers, people that our media center, people that live their life talking about music all day long. We opened that room up, and we said, you guys come in and you talk to the people, and we treated them like the regular media, AP and all the other global media around the world. And what we said was, you can ask the same questions. You have the same status as everyone else in the room. And I didn't know that he was going to ask our CEO about social, okay, because I was like, well, he hadn't necessarily been trained on that. But I love the fact that it was a part of our organization's DNA and that he was able to answer the question. And, you know, there's no going back, because then the blogger tweeted it. And the one on the right is just about us using some of our celebrity friends. I don't know if you guys know who Fatty Belly Bella is, but that's Erykah Badu. She's a DJ. Well, she's a DJ and a singer. And Jesse Williams, I know this translates to the ladies. I feel like I'm just talking to the ladies. We should have had MLOVE women. I keep telling you we ought to have that. But Jesse Williams is the guy from Grey's Anatomy, the Swiss guy. He's like half Swiss, half black. He's like really hot. Okay, enough of that. So anyway, the other part of this for us was, once you create the app, And once you create a mobile strategy, the nuance is that having a marketing strategy for mobile is not the same as having a marketing strategy for the app. And so I've said that a couple times in presentations and people looked at me cross-eyed, but it really is true, is that your mobile is so much more than just the app. But the app is such an immersive experience that they require separate marketing strategies so that when you're attempting to engage, you actually know why and on what levels and what triggers. Because as a marketer, and I'm a marketer, I'm not ever going to create an app. I'm not ever going to, you don't want me to sing. I can barely kind of dance. That's about the extent of what I can do. Don't believe the stereotypes. It's not true. But I'm never going to create that. But as a marketer, the thing that I do know and that I'm really good at is knowing which dials to turn and which buttons to flick so that I get the right engagement, whether I'm in the app or whether I'm online from the desktop experience or whether I'm actually focused on our overall mobile strategy. So, but that's not enough for Music's Biggest Night. If you're going to make that declaration, and we actually have a registered trademark on that, Music's Biggest Night, if you want to continue to break records, you've got to think about the complete immersive viewing experience. And that is about having this sort of different perspective on it. And do you guys have Married with Children? It's like the reruns, Al Bundy, and the guy who sits on the couch with his hand in his pants watching television? Well, okay, great. So you can't do that anymore. You can't program television like that anymore. You can't program experiences like that because you literally have to have all hands on deck because you have to give people something to do the entire time. Well, yeah, don't put your hands in your pants. That's the lesson there. So second screen experience. So we have a complete, independent of what's happening for 3.5 hours on the show, even if you're in Hamburg and you wanted to watch what was happening on Grammy Live, you could. And Grammy Live is a 72-hour live experience that's a companion piece to the broadcast. So the content in Grammy Live is completely independent of what you see on the broadcast. It's just meant to support it. So if you wanted to figure out what we were doing on a Friday evening when we were honoring Bruce Springsteen this year, you could turn on the Grammy Live online and figure that out, or you could download the app and have access to that. And we've completely made it social so that you can talk in it. And this is the whole thing about when I was fainting. You've heard that story. So at some point for us, just on the red carpet stuff, that companion piece, there are 165,000 people sort of watching what was going on because it's not something that they would normally get access to. And this is what the room looks like. I mean, so I'm taking this picture right before I was about to faint because the numbers are coming in and we actually run social and mobile as a command center from high above the Staples Center. And occasionally bad shit happens to good people. So does anybody know what this is in reference to? Yeah, so in the middle of the 54th Grammy Awards this year, Whitney Houston passed. So Saturday night, we're all at the Beverly Hilton, waiting to honor Richard Branson, and we find out that Whitney Houston died. But the cool thing about being mobile and about using social is that the world doesn't stop until you get your press release together. We were required to deal with that in real time. Jennifer Hudson was not scheduled to be at the Grammys this year. She wasn't nominated. She wasn't scheduled to perform. She was there for another one of those private events. And we were able to bring her in to do that because our CEO said, I have the best team in the business and they're going to make this happen. And that was literally Saturday night. And so Jennifer came, she did an amazing job. And then, of course, there was the triumphant return of the UK's greatest export since the Beatles. Well, that's not really true, but it is kind of. No. So she was amazing. And so it was being able to figure out what people were talking about. And as you can see, this chart, this line all the way on the left up here, that's Adele. That's the conversation that people were having in real time about Adele. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. So it was pretty cool. But being able to monitor that in real time is important to what we do. So for me, it is about taking people's love of music and creating lean forward moments, and that's kind of from the Michael Jackson Smooth Criminal thing, but I want people engaged and connected at all time, and I will leverage whatever assets that I have available to me, mobile, social, digital, second screen, third screen, to make that happen. And so that's why looking for the next piece of, mobile content or mobile app or mobile technology that gets us there is why that's important to me. So lessons learned along the way. Authenticity. Don't be something that you're not. Listen, shut up, and listen some more. I talk a lot, but I listen more. Be prepared for the unexpected, because sometimes bad stuff happens. And go with the natural flow of the conversation. One of the things that's sort of interesting about being in the real time, in the moment, is that you actually have to realize that people are contacting you and connecting with you and talking to you in real time. And so if you try to insert pre-programmed messages into the conversation that's happening in real time, you will be completely disconnected from the experience. And there's no social without mobile. And I'm sorry, Dr. Bob showed up, so I waved at him. I'm sorry. So anyway, and that's it. So 1 million viewers of the Grammy Live app experience, which is what we were going for. This year, I hope to get significantly more. And that was what, we're monitoring stuff in real time. So this is kind of what was happening. I wanted to see where our app was, where our iPad app was, as this stuff was happening. And we took that on Sunday. So why this is all important is because at the end of the day, my job is to take social, mobile, digital, and get people to watch television, which is non-new edge or leading edge. It's kind of been there for a little while. And what happens is when people talk about things, they hear it, it gets replicated, and then unique people find it and they go do something, which in my case is go turn on the television, and then I count the results. It's a hard act to follow, though. So, most of this year I've been trying to figure out, and I had a slide in here, and Harold will know, and the people that were in Monterey, the first MLOVE California, will tell you that my slide said that the Super Bowl was going to beat us. That's not going to happen. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm going to panic, and I'm going to only be able to use this presentation for like 3 months because the Olympics is going to kick my ass. Didn't happen. So when I look at the I have a great deal of pride. Our program is only 4 years old, and when you look at the top 10 most social award shows in the history of since we've been doing all this, which is what, like 5 years, I have 2 of those programs in the middle of that, and I love that. That's a pretty amazing treat for me. That's it. That's it. So. Do things. I start my team off every season, every Grammy season, by asking, do you mobilize your social or do you socialize your mobile? The Grammys is never going to be seen on YouTube or tape TV or any place else. It's always going to be on television. It's always going to be on CBS, assuming that the checks keep coming. But it's always going to be on television. And what happens is when people talk about things, they hear it, it gets replicated, and then unique people find it and they go do something, which in my case is go turn on the television, and then I count the results. It's a hard act to follow, though. So, most of this year I've been trying to figure out, and I had a slide in here, and Harold will know, and the people that were in Monterey, the first MLOVE California, will tell you that my slide said that the Super Bowl was going to beat us. that's not going to happen. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm going to panic and I'm going to only be able to use this presentation for like 3 months because the Olympics is going to kick my ass. Didn't happen. So when I look at the, I have a great deal of pride. Our program is only 4 years old. And when you look at the top 10 most social award shows in the history of since we've been doing all this, which is what, like 5 years, I have 2 of those programs in the middle of that, and I love that. That's a pretty amazing treat for me. That's it.